Hello, my name is Dr. Arik Greenberg. I'm the president and founder of the Institute for Religious Tolerance, Peace, and Justice. We're in the final stages of planning for our second annual Interfaith Solidarity March, co-sponsored by a number of faith-based and interfaith organizations and houses of worship. Last year, our inaugural march focused on the issue of Islamophobia and trying to inspire unity and solidarity between the three Abrahamic faiths, demonstrating to the rest of the world that we can in fact get along, and that all of us support the rights of Muslims to worship peacefully and without being accosted here in their homeland. We were supported by many people of many different faiths, and even those of no faith, but this diversity was somewhat of a secondary side blessing that was unplanned. This year, we're focusing on a much larger goal. While Islamophobia is still an issue, we have seen a large amount of hatred being expressed with boldness and impunity since the start of the last election cycle, and we have seen a number of hate crimes targeting Muslims, Jews, and a variety of other faiths, ethnicities, and demographic groups. This year, we're focusing on unity and solidarity between all faiths, and even people of no faith. Yes, that's right. We're partnering with a number of atheist and agnostic groups in this endeavor. If anyone is targeted by hate-filled people, none of us are safe and none of us are truly free. If anyone feels insecure, then it is the responsibility of all of us to pull together and to protect them. I'm not here to point fingers at any particular political party or affiliation, and certainly not at any racial, ethnic, or religious group. As the Apostle Paul said, we have all sinned and fall short of the glory of God. There is enough blame to go around among everyone. But in this last election cycle, the arrogance and divisiveness spewed by both political parties only fanned the flames of the hatred that was being rekindled and authorized and even tacitly encouraged by certain factions, and you know who you are, the kind of shameless and unabashed hatred that we haven't seen publicly espoused without limit or backlash in this country in perhaps decades. This kind of hatred and divisiveness must be checked. It must be disavowed and discouraged by any and all of our political leaders who claim to represent our nation. Once again, we're not here to disparage or alienate any particular political party. To invoke Paul again, we want full inclusion of every major party in this movement. We might not be able to disarm or educate every person who shouts a racist or ethnocentric or religiocentric slogan, or have a sit-down and a sensitivity training session with every person who holds a sign with a hateful vulgarity on it in support of their particular ideological standpoint. But as people of conscience, we have to stand together and remind the world that this just won't do. We, as people of faith, regardless of our political standpoint, have a responsibility to remind our leaders, whatever side of the aisle that they're on, to be their best, to do their best, to act their best, to not let themselves get away with poor actions simply for the sake of winning an election. It is the responsibility, the place, the prophetic profession for all religious leaders, pastors, rabbis, priests, imams, swamis, and otherwise, to lead their flocks to righteousness as their faiths have best envisioned it. To demand that their flocks not let themselves get away with the kinds of actions that every major religious leader or founder has preached against. Regardless of how we conceive of the divine, or how we worship him, her, or it, we all have the same basic goals: peace, freedom, safety, prosperity, and love. During this march, Sunday, April 2nd, we are joining together, people of faith along with people of no faith, to remind the world that we can and will do this. We will establish peace. We will establish collaboration. We will solve the world's hardest problems with or without our elected officials. And remember, some of the greatest leaders of the world have never held a public office. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Muhammad, Jesus. And their descendants and representatives are here. It's their time, once again, to be heard. It's their time to shine. And we have the numbers. Who's with me? Who will march with us? Will you march for peace? I know that I will. I will march for interfaith solidarity.